Okay, so let's dive into Fairy's training so that we can stay consistent at home. So first thing you want to think about when you're working with Fairy is you want to give her a little bit of time to adjust back to going home and getting to learn the new rules in her home versus here at the training facility. So we want to make sure that we reward her when she does the behavior correctly. What that will do is it'll increase the rate of that behavior. So we want to reward all the behaviors she does well to increase the rate of that behavior and create a strong reward history, which just means she has a positive association with listening to the commands at home. We also want to use her training tools to correct the unwanted behavior or when she doesn't do a command when we ask her to. So we want to balance it out by rewarding what we like and correcting what we don't to keep a nice, balanced, well-behaved dog at home. So with Fairy, let's dive into her training equipment. So here we have her prong collar. This is going to be used whenever you take her on a walk or use the leash for training. This is not something that we put on her and then tie her out to. This is something that we have the leash in our hands when it's attached to this collar, and of course take it off at night. So how to put it on and off, you can choose any links to take apart. You can't just slip it over her head because these prongs might, poke her in the eye. We don't want that. So we want to make sure that we grab a link. I like to use my right hand. I hold one link steady, then I take the link above it, and I'm going to push down, keeping it parallel, and then you just push through. It's about technique, not strength. I know that looked really dramatic, but it's not about strength. You can get it off pretty easily as long as you keep the links parallel to each other. To put it back on, you're going to squeeze this link and you're going to snap it into the link ahead of it. So again, slide down, keep it parallel, pop off, squeeze into the link like so. You can't put it on where, you can't put it through the top. It won't go. So you want to make sure you do the squeeze and put it on correctly. That way it doesn't accidentally fall off Fairy when you're using it. I recommend using the leash with the prong collar along with the remote collar. It's going to help us guide her if she gets a little confused around the distractions at home. So we have this remote collar. The remote, the on-off button, how to turn it on. Back here, the big L button in the middle. We're going to push and hold that until the screen lights up. Now we know that the remote is on, but this does not turn on the collar. The collar has a red dot right here. That is a magnetic key. The matching one is on the remote. So we're going to touch these two together. You're going to see a green light. That's going to turn on her collar. So we'll touch the two red dots together. You'll see the green light, and the green light will flash every few seconds to let you know that the collar is on and ready to go. So when you put this on Fairy, I recommend putting it on with the light facing out so that when you're looking at her, you can see that it still flashes green every few seconds so that you know that the collar is on and ready to go. So now that we have the collar on and the remote on, we're going to show you how to use this. I'm also going to show you how to use the prong collar. That way you know what to do when to give a correction. So let's talk about loose leash walking. The command to walk next to me on a loose leash for Fairy is heel. So you're going to give her the heel command. If she tries to walk ahead, that's not a heel. So we're going to correct that behavior. We're going to say no, push the black S button, and then tell her heel. No, heel. That's all it is. We're telling her, hey, that's not correct. Here's the correct thing to do, which reminding her of the heel position. And then when she is in the correct position, good heel, praise, petting, treats. We're going to reward her when she's doing a good job so that she knows what earns rewards and what gets corrections, so that it's a nice balance in training. So same thing for any other command that she doesn't follow through with. You want to make sure that you follow through and let her know that, hey, you can't just ignore my commands. I mean what I say when I give this command, and if you don't follow through, here is the consequence. And then you let her know, again, what to do afterwards. So let's say sit, for example. You tell her sit. She just looks at you and says, no, I don't feel like sitting. No, sit. You're following through. You're saying, hey, I mean what I say. This is the command. You have two options. You can listen to it and get a reward, or you can ignore it and get a correction, and then you still have to do the command anyway. So that is how you're going to use the remote collar. We're going to go over all the other commands here in a second. How to use the prong collar. So this triangle right here should never be constantly tight like this. It should be nice and relaxed, and the leash will attach to the circle right here. When you're ready to give a correction, it is a quick no, and then tell her what she should be doing, whether it's heel, sit, down, whatever. If she makes a mistake or doesn't listen to the command, if she forgets or just doesn't feel like doing it, no, pop and release, give the command. You don't want to hold it tight because then it's a constant correction. It's just a little tug and release to let her know that, hey, that wasn't quite right. Do this instead. So you want to make sure you attach it to the correct circle. I know there's 2 circles here. So one makes a triangle like this, the other doesn't. See how the chain's twisted? And it doesn't relax the collar. So you definitely want to make sure that you put it on the correct circle, which is the one that makes the triangle. So I would attach your leash to this collar before you put it on Fairy. So let's go over the rest of her commands. So we have heel, which means walk next to me on a loose leash. When you do take her on a leash walk, 85 to 90% of her walk should be in the heel position. The other 10 to 15% can be a free. Free is the command for you don't have to be in a specific command. You can sniff, walk ahead, just you're free to go to the bathroom and explore. So that is her release command if she's no longer in a command. So heel, walk next to me, free, go sniff, and then you can call her back to heel. Sit means stay until she is told free, or the heel command can break the sit command. So for example, you're doing door manners. You have her sit, open the door. As a distraction happens, you want to give her reminders so you can kind of help her out throughout the training. So you can tell her sit. As you open the door, remind her to sit so that she doesn't just assume, oh, the door's opening, we're going to walk through it together. You give her a verbal reminder so she's like, oh, okay, you want me to wait here. You don't have to say stay with your sit, down, or place. You can just repeat the word again. She will understand to stay until you tell her free, which is the release term. So you open the door, you can tell her free and walk through the door that way, or you can tell her heel and walk through that way. It just depends on what you're wanting to do in that moment. Then let's go over down. So down means lay down and stay until she's told free. Now with down and place, we always go back to Fairy, tell her she did a good job, and then we release her with the free command. We don't release from a distance because we want to create a really, really strong stay. And what we're telling her when we go back to her is say, hey, you have to stay in this stay until I come back to you. I will reward you, and then I will tell you free. If we free from a distance, what she'll do is she'll start to get, not lazy, but she'll start to anticipate the free. So when you get to a certain distance, if you freed her from there before and you've rewarded her coming to you, like say, hey, you did a good job, you did a good downstay, and you tell her free and she runs to you, she gets a reward. Well, she got rewarded for coming to you, not for being in the stay. So she'll just assume, oh, you want me to come to you, and without you saying the command. So you always want to go back to her, tell her she did a good job, reward, and then free. So if she gets up or makes a mistake or doesn't listen to your command, it is no, black ass button, down. So we're practicing down stay, and then you can also use the collar and pull slightly towards the ground. You don't have to go all the way to the ground, just a little lower than what you normally would. With like heel, you'll pop up. For sit, you'll pop up, and for down, you'll pop down a little bit. So if she gets up from the down stay before you say free, no, correction, and then go to her and tell her down. Same thing for place. So with place, it's a boundary stay on a bed. I recommend using this around the distractions at first because it's an easier stay for her to understand, because she can also rotate and get comfortable. With a down stay, she has to stay laying down. With a place stay, she can sit, lay down, get comfortable, whatever she wants to do on the bed, as long as she's not breaking the rules of no barking, no chewing on the bed, and no getting off before being told free. So with place, when we reward her, we want to put the treat on the bed so that the bed is the positive zone. The bed produces the reward. With down, sit, or heel, we can reward from our hand. With down, I recommend rewarding a little bit lower. That way she doesn't try and creep up to get the reward. She stays in the down position the whole time. So with place, put her on place, reward on the bed, do your distractions, give her reminders throughout the distractions happening. So for example, when you're working with your livestock, I would have one person just focused on Fairy for the first couple of weeks. That way she can get used to the distraction, so that when someone else is working the animals, she can get rewarded for staying on place and staying calm. Then you can get to the point where one person has Fairy on place and is working with the animals, and then going and rewarding and going back and forth. So to reward Fairy, we always go back to her, tell her she did a good job, tell her free. Again, if she gets off before you say free, no, correction, tell her place. You might have to guide her back to the bed using the leash. So you would just take the leash and guide her back to where the bed is. Then we have come when called. So when you're practicing with Fairy, always have a safety net on first, some sort of long line that's either attached to a prong collar or a flat collar. That way, if she does not listen to you and she doesn't respond to this, which is very unlikely, but it might happen, you have a safety net to reel her back in. So when you tell her free, she's sniffing, she's exploring. Your command for her, it can either be Fairy come or just the command come. As she runs to you, you want to reward the action of her running to us, so running to you. So you do that by praising her. Fairy, come. She's running. Good girl, good job. Have her sit. And then reward. Reward with the treat. So if she doesn't come back to you, no. Push the button. Come. And repeat the command until you get her to come to you. Again, you have that leash as a safety net, but Fairy, come. She's still sniffing some grass. No. Come, and repeat until she comes back to you. Good girl, sit. You're still going to praise her though, because we want to make sure that she has a strong reward history with coming to us. That's how we get an off-leash reliable dog. So you want to reward every single time she comes back to you. A reward history is a positive association with doing that behavior over and over again and getting rewarded for it. So we want to make sure that she always has a positive interaction when she does get to you. Never call her to you to correct her, because then she's going to be like, why would I come to you if you're just going to correct me for it when I get to you? So the correction happens out there. The reward happens here if she needs a correction. Then we have leave it. Leave it just means don't grab that. So I practice with food. You can practice it with whatever you don't want her to grab. You just drop something on the ground, tell her leave it. If she goes for it, leave it. Leave it in itself can be the correction term for this. So she will go, as soon as she hears leave it, she's like, oh, don't go near that. And then if she does still go for it, no, leave it. Or you can just say leave it and give the correction. When she does leave it, good girl, minimum praise, petting, and then reward if you think she deserves it. Don't be nervous to reward her a lot in the beginning, because we're transitioning the training from here to at home. So we want to make sure she gets that reward history with you guys at home. So reward what you like. Correct the behaviors you don't, follow through with your command. If you give a command, she has to do it. If she doesn't, there's a correction involved. And then have fun and stay consistent with her. Now we're going to show you Fairy's commands.
Good job. Good girl. Good heel. Heel. Say hi. Free. Free. Look. Fairy, come. Good girl. Sit. Free. Might go towards the rocks. Free. Come on. Fairy, come. Good girl. Sit. Good job. Good girl. Sit. 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 I do not want you.
Oh, sorry. Like the dog.
Thank you.
That's the only dog I'm ever afraid of. I got pit bulls.
Yeah.
German Shepherds, but they're pretty dogs.
Yeah, they are.
Is he friendly?
Yeah, we're in training though.
Oh.
She's in training.
Hi. What's her name?
Her name is Fairy.
Barry?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute. Hi, Barry. No, I thought you worked here. Sorry about that.
You're fine. Thanks.
Yeah.
Down. Good girl. Down. Good. Down. Good. Down. Good down. Good down. Free. Free. Good girl.
No. Sit. What is that? There you go. Good girl. Good job. Sit. Sit. Free. Okay. Okay. Ready? Leave it. Good girl. Good job. Okay. Second one. There you go. You ready to go for it? Because you're such a good girl. That's why. Free. Okay. Well, hey, where are you going? Good job. Hey. Leave it. Good girl. Free. Okay. Good girl. Good job. Good job. Place. One place. Girl. Place. Good place. Place. Okay.
Okay, so let's go over the rest of the features of Fairy's remote collar. So we know how to turn the collar and the remote on. Let's turn it off. So big button in the middle, push and hold until the screen is dark. That turns the remote off. To turn the collar off, same way you turn it on. 2 red dots, touch those together. Red light means the collar is off. This collar's charge should last a couple days, so you can put it on her during the day, take it off at night. She can wear it 12 to 14 hours a day. I recommend every single day. That way you're consistent and can follow through. So let's turn this back on. It only takes a couple hours to charge, so I wouldn't recommend leaving it on the charger overnight because that will kind of fry the battery and then the battery won't last as long. So at the end of the day, when you take it off her and she's, gone to bed, plug it in for a little bit before you go to bed. So when you plug it in, the 2 lights right here will be red and then they will be green when the collar is fully charged. The charging ports are under here. So this is waterproof. I would recommend this is completely shut. That way dirt, debris, and water don't get in and kind of mess with the electronics. Same thing on the back. This is also a waterproof deal. So turn the collars on, turn the collars off. We have this red button over here. This is the boost button. So if Fairy doesn't listen to your command, for example, come when called, she takes off running for the road. You call her back, she's chasing something, she's in a whole different drive because she's kicked into a different mode of like prey drive or whatever she's after, and you've called her come and she's not listening to the regular 20, the red button is a boost. It will double, it will add 20 to the level that she is on. So this is red for emergencies only. You will only need that in those types of situations where she is not listening, she's put herself in a dangerous position. Oh my gosh, we got to get her back. So with that, the level she's at right now is 20. That is working for her. Now this level can adjust throughout her life because the way she responds to corrections will adjust as she matures. So right now 20 is at a good step. If you notice that 20 isn't really getting the results you're after, if you're having to use it over and over and over and over again, I would recommend increasing the level. How to do that? We have this dial right here. Right now it's locked. To unlock it, push down and hold the top, and it should be flashing. The 1D should be flashing. So that means you can now adjust the level. If I want to turn it down, I can turn it down. If I want to turn it up, I can turn it up to whatever level I need it. So if 20 is not working, try 25 or 30. If 20 seems like it's a little too much and she's like really flinching at it, you can turn it down to 15 because again, as she matures, her level could change. So once we have it set to the level we want it at, this dial is very sensitive. Put it to the level, you're going to push down and hold it, and that's going to lock it in place so that you don't accidentally turn it up or down if it's in your pocket or around your neck. So then we have the T button over here. This is vibrate. So that will just vibrate the collar. What I like to do is before I put this collar on Fairy, I push the vibrate button a few times just to make sure, okay, I've turned the collar on. Because this is a magnet, you could very easily turn the collar off just by tapping the two together. So you want to make sure that this collar is on. So I always like to push the T vibrate button just to make sure it's on. On the back here, the on-off button is also a flashlight feature. So instead of pushing and holding it to turn the remote off, if you tap it again, it turns into a flashlight. That's another reason why I like the light to be facing out, because if you have Fairy out at night, you can see her. When it's dark out anyway. Tap it again, turns it off. So if you go to turn off the remote and you don't hold it long enough, it'll activate the flashlight. You want to make sure you turn the flashlight off because if it's on, it'll run the battery down a little bit. When the battery is running low, you'll see an orange flashing light, and then you'll see a red flashing light. That just is telling you that the battery is medium low to low and you'll need to charge it. When it's green, it's almost fully charged. this little M/C button on the back. You don't have to worry about changing her momentary to continuous. What momentary means is if I push and hold this button, it will only correct that one time. We don't use continuous on a higher level. We use it on a lower level to show her, hey, you'll feel this low level stimulation. If you do this command, you get a treat. So we associate the collar with rewards, not corrections in the beginning, but then we fade to, hey, if you do the command right the first time, if you do it when I ask, you'll just get a reward. You won't have to feel the stimulation of the collar. You only feel the collar if you don't listen to the commands, and you'll follow through by using this. So, those are the features. In the box, we have her charger. This is waterproof, reaches up to a ½ mile, and it has a nice 2-year warranty. We have the extender prongs. Her hair is long, but it's not too long and thick, so I didn't think it was necessary for the longer prongs for her. But if you want to change it, this is the tool to do so, to change from the short prongs to the long ones. We have her instruction manual to go over all the buttons in greater detail if you'd like. We did cover everything. This is the original buckle strap that it came with. I like the quick strap because it just makes it so much easier to put the collar on and take it off of Fairy. The information, if anything happens to your collar within the next couple of years, is right here. So I would either take a picture or hang onto this box. That way, if for some reason something happens within the warranty, you can get it replaced. So the bungee, I like this because it's just so much easier to put on and take off. If she grows and gets bigger, you can adjust how tight it is on her. It does need to fit snug so that the contact points can make good connection to her skin. When I put the collars on her, I like to, if this is Fairy's head, I like to put the remote collar right here and the prong collar just above it. That's just how I like to adjust the collars, but it's not a big deal if it's the other way around. Okay, so those are the features. If you have any questions, let us know. But with Fairy, just have fun and stay consistent with her training, and we will see you later.